Hey Enablers, Mike Kunkel here. It's time for another edition of Sales Enablement Straight Talk. Today, I want to talk about using multi-factor analysis to maximize performance improvement potential. Wait, what? What now? What the heck is that? Look, in plainer English, this is a way to look at the whole situation in context, the root cause of the problem, and possible solutions, and come at the problem from different directions at the same time. The reason that you do this is because there's rarely one right answer or one performance lever to pull that will deliver the maximum performance improvement. Just like with a complex sales opportunity, the real world is rarely that single-threaded. So the topic of using multi-factor analysis to maximize your performance improvement potential. Let's dig in. So, multi-factor analysis. That's a mouthful, right? So I'm hoping that maybe an example will be helpful. Here's the scenario that we'll dig into. Your employer, Airco Solutions, sells high-quality air filtration systems commercially. You sell to airports, hospitals, museums, commercial buildings, real estate developers, restaurants, data centers, pharmaceutical companies, and so many others. I think you get the picture. And you sell every kind of air filtration system imaginable, including what's needed to implement a system and all the corresponding services from analysis, consulting, maintenance, and service. Now, here's the important part. Here is the current state situation. Historically, due to being in a mature vertical where you have serviced many customers for many years with upgrades, maintenance, services, and expansions, you've primarily focused on territory management and account management and experienced reasonable growth in your industry. A very good product line and solid product market fit has certainly fueled that, along with great service orientation, a strong engineering and maintenance staff, and a customer-centric culture. Now, that said, only 2 divisions in the company have performed far above average at new business development. Bill Money's team and George's team, which recently graduated from Modern Sales Foundations and won the last year's sales contest. But both of these teams are small and not representative of other Airco divisions. It's worth noting that you had a significant surge of business during the pandemic, given concerns for indoor air quality, which makes sense, right? And you staffed up to handle that. But now, sales are flat, having leveled off to slightly below pre-pandemic levels, with slightly higher service revenue, though, due to the influx of new customers during the pandemic surge. Operating income and EBITDA are declining, inventory levels still high, sales is heavily discounting again, further reducing profit margins. Your company's cash flow reserve position remains strong at this time, but cash flow has significantly decreased and cash reserves are slowly declining. Now, your previous CEO retired during the pandemic, and your new CEO and the CRO he brought in have aspirations to grow through acquisition, meaning M&A, and new business development, which has not been a primary focus at Airco for at least 15 years. To capitalize on the new business development strategy, you've been charged by the CRO in supporting the creation of a team of hunters that the CRO is referring to as big game hunters. Now, the CEO did not want to disrupt Bill or George's teams, so this new team of hunters was handpicked and assembled from other divisions. Your CRO, your revenue operations leader, and you have all been working on this initiative now for 4 months. However, it's become increasingly clear that the transition is fraught with challenges. Here's the summary of what you're up against. Skill gaps. One of the most prominent hurdles is the significant skill gaps within this newly formed Big Game Hunters team. The team that was chosen, though talented past performers, were accustomed to a different approach. Long-standing account managers who were expert at managing existing territory relationships are now tasked with cultivating entirely new ones and building awareness, interest in relationships, and trust from ground zero. This shift from account management to proactive hunting for new business requires a fundamentally different skill set and maybe even a different makeup or sales DNA. The art of identifying, engaging, and persuading potential clients demands a level of assertiveness, resilience, strategic thinking, and new skills that many team members are still working to develop. This shift was met with varying degrees of comfort and resistance, highlighting the need for training and mentorship to bridge this gap. Then there are the buying behavior changes. The buying landscape has evolved, right? The pandemic fostered urgency that once drove buyers to swiftly implement air quality solutions has dissipated. Customers are demanding more. There are more decision makers in the committee. They're seeking detailed information, case studies, ROI analyses, and robust decision support. It's a new world for you at Airco, which had excelled in rapid response, but now finds itself having to pivot toward a content and information-rich approach. There are other content needs. The gap in content and information is glaring. While Airco had mastered the technical aspects of air filtration systems, it now needs to translate this expertise into accessible and persuasive content. Buyer engagement content like white papers, case studies, videos, and other decision support are essential to demonstrate the company's leadership and thought leadership in help in making buyers make decisions. There's also a gap with commercial insights. There's a need for market research and analysis to identify potential acquisition targets. The big game hunters were adept at forging deeper connections with known accounts, but a thorough understanding of the competitive landscape and potential synergies with acquisition targets is now really important. The ability to assess market trends, evaluate competitors, and project future industry developments is crucial for making informed decisions about potential targets. You also need commercial insights to help buyers recognize problems they may not yet see coming. So it's clear that a different level of business and industry acumen are required. Look, at this juncture, it's evident that the transition requires a strategic recalibration, right? The ambitious vision remains valid, but readiness must be reassessed and the execution adjusted. It's time for the company to leverage cross-functional expertise, harness the potential of this newly formed team, and invest in the development of skills, content, process, methodology, systems, and tools that are necessary to thrive in this new endeavor. Wow. So, what should we do and how should we prioritize it? Well, that's where multi-factor analysis comes in. In fact, what I just walked through with you and framed up is the beginning of that analysis. Now look, it would be easy in a situation like this for a leader to pick something to fix that's in their comfort zone and wheelhouse and then charge headfirst right into that. Perhaps Airco really needs to find people with the right job fit, train the new skills needed, right? Just focus on those things. But in reality, this is a multifaceted issue and requires a multi-threaded solution. So let's look more closely at those factors. First, there are possible talent selection issues here. Good people can learn and stretch, but not everyone is well suited for every job. There's a difference between doing something that's a stretch, like delivering a speech when it's not something you're particularly comfortable with, or doing something you're not as well suited for that's 5 or 10% of your job responsibility, and then doing a full-time job that is well outside your comfort zone nonstop. Big difference, right? Think about this analogy. When a heavy-duty rubber band is stretched too far for too long, it's not good for the rubber band nor the person who's holding it when it finally snaps. by all means, invest in the development of those people who have the right mindsets, beliefs, and sales DNA to be hunters. Often, even people with the right foundations just haven't had the training, coaching, and tools to be successful at prospecting. But don't try to turn people into something they're not. Even the great Michael Jordan didn't work out as a professional baseball player. Next, consider the buyer acumen gaps. Think about that list of vertical industries and target buyers. Do you know their roles and goals? How about coin up? Challenges, opportunities, impacts, needs, outcomes, and priorities. Who do they typically work with to buy solutions like yours? And what's their typical buying process and exit criteria per stage? Prioritizing which ICP to target, where you'll likely have the greatest success, and then laying a foundation of buyer acumen for those markets and buyers will help any new business development effort. Then expand to industry and business acumen. These tie closely to buyer acumen, but they're broader. Knowing vertical industries and the specific air quality challenges and why they matter, or how to best address them, tie your solutions to the specific world those buyers live in. Buyers want to work with sellers who understand their industry, issues, positions, coin up, although they won't say it that way, and can speak their language. It gives them confidence. Then there are the buyer engagement contact gaps. This is also an extension of buyer acumen. You need to know the questions most buyers have at each stage of their journey, which is tied to their decision criteria and their buying process exit criteria by persona per stage. This allows you to create content to aid buying decisions. It might be customer POS or problem, outcome, solution stories, research, testimonials, case studies, white paper, product explainer videos or fact sheets, ROI analysis tools or calculators, or whatever will best address the questions you need to answer for your buyers to increase knowledge, reduce friction, reduce risk, increase confidence, and facilitate a smooth buying decision. Next, there are these obvious skill and competency gaps. Look, let's face it, prospecting is not the same as growing accounts and customers who already buy from you. Researching, preparing, creating value stories, assembling insights and content that will create awareness, interest, and relationship, crafting approaches that have the best chance of working and adapting them to your target personas, ensuring you have a sensible omni-channel outbound strategy. All of these things are not the same activities or skill sets, and not to mention the importance of preparing to navigate the disinterest you'll encounter and preparing to resolve the likely concerns you will hear. And lastly for today, what about sales manager readiness? Oh, you thought this was just about the sellers? Well, look, if Airco hasn't been in heavy-duty new prospect business development in about 15 years, and other than a recent flurry of pandemic-fueled sales, have focused on territory management and account management, what exactly do you think the frontline sales managers have been supporting? That's right. It's likely that many of them may not be prepared to field train, coach, guide, provide feedback, counsel, and generally lead and manage these big game hunters, as Airco calls them. Ensuring frontline sales manager readiness is going to be as important as readying and supporting the frontline sellers. So look, in this oversimplified but at least partly realistic scenario, with 6 major factors identified, how well do you think it will work if you address just one or maybe even 2? You know the answer to that. But yet, I still see it happen all the time. In this video on multi-factor analysis, I won't segue into multi-factor solution design, but I trust you get the point that a one-trick pony is not going to move the needle in this scenario. Using multi-factor analysis will allow you to maximize your performance improvement potential. Check out the written newsletter for some additional perspective. But I hope this is helpful, enablers. And as always, stay the course and make an impact with enablement.